Welcome, welcome. You are watching the Suitable Help Her podcast, where we help wives rediscover their purpose and passion in marriage, business, and life. And I am so excited about my phenomenal guest this morning. You are in for what I hope to be a treat of transparency. I'm going to introduce you to my guest. Her name is Tracey Bryant, and she is known as the Sacred CEO. And I'm going to give her the floor just to give her a chance to introduce herself thoroughly, because I'm really interested. What does it mean to be a sacred CEO? Miss Tracey.
Hi.
Hi. How are
so
you,
good
sis?
to see you again.
You too.
Sis.
Good to see you.
Yes,
We're so far away. That was kind of a stretch.
I know. Come on. Let's do it right.
Okay, let's try that again.
Get good
all right,
touch
we
in.
got it.
Right.
Tell me about it. Like you said, sacred CEO, and you're known for activating people's purpose and their sacredness. So how did that come about?
Well, I've always had a genuine gift in motivating and inspiring people through the word, through my word, which is connected to God's word. And I'm not just talking about like a biblical perspective. I'm saying just the power of the word. And I come from a line in a workspace of healing. So I worked in the trauma-informed space for over 20 years. I am the founder and director of Love My Womb Academy, which is the largest feminine health and wellness academy in the nation. We have certified over 3,300 women from all over the country who have used their passports to actually come to our academy and learn feminine health and wellness. And in that, I would allow the women to come and to release, to heal, reset, dump, and then be able to reset to go back out and be activated into their purpose. So I've always had that gift with women, it being in that space and bringing community together. And so I find that to be a very sacred gift to be able to do that. Absolutely. And I honor it as that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. See, now we're going to warm it up a little bit, and people are going to start to understand why are we talking to Miss Tracey? Oh, you're going to find out in a minute. And I don't think it was a coincidence how we met, right? So we were at a summit.
Not at all.
And I was looking for my husband, who was roaming here and there and everywhere. And I said, let me just find a seat. And I just looked, and there was plenty of seats actually in the back. But there she was, and I just sat down right next to her. I don't even know how we ended up talking. But at some point I said to you, what do you talk about? And I understood that you actually have a business, a ministry. Is it a ministry? Is it a business?
I would call my business a ministry. Yes.
Where you help
Most
people
definitely.
deal with life after divorce.
Yes.
So I thought that's interesting, because we deal with couples who are dealing with infidelity and all kinds of other marital issues, right?
Yes.
And so today's show, y'all, is really about divorce. What are the expectations? What is the reality versus the expectations that we expect when we think, I'm going to get out of this mess, I'm going to move on? You know, we look at life through rose-colored goggles, I think, a lot of times, and we never really count the cost when we're in the midst of something, right?
Yes.
And then I think also Hollywood does a great job of, making things seem so elaborate, from the wedding, getting married in the first place. We're in the white dress. We're excited about that. All the way to the divorce. Freedom, girl. You don't have to deal with none of this anymore. But then there's the truth somewhere in between, isn't there?
Yes, ma'am.
So I was very excited to meet her, somebody who is actually helping people deal with life after divorce. I thought maybe it would be a good idea for us to deal with this topic from the top of the show, because we're really still building a foundation about what it looks like to be a wife and the things that we think about and what we go through. And I know some of y'all have thought of divorce. Some of us have actually thought of it. Okay, so we're going to get into it. So, back in 2022, you had a big transition in your life, right? Where you let go of a multi-million-dollar company. You released your home. You released your marriage. What transition took place in your life at that time that made you say to yourself, enough is enough, I've had it?
Well, I know in doing that in 2020, it was an act of rebellion, especially in the eyes of the community. It's an act of a rebellion for a wife and a woman who has the marriage that is like, and we had like a very, what would you call it, public marriage. Like we both were in the healing space. So we were transparent most of the time, a lot of times, and public about our relationship and our marriage. And, with that, we had the home, close to 5,000 square feet. We had the businesses, we had the money, we had the social circles, we had what most of us consider to be that epitome of life, right? Marriage, home, business, money, traveling, enjoying it. And in that, what I found for me was in that act of rebellion, it was also synonymous with an act of self-love. So in that rebellion was the self-love. And one of the main reasons that I released my marriage, first I want to say, as women, we're taught that marriage is the epitome of a woman's life. Marriage and motherhood, right? And so with that programming, it's very difficult to even fathom the releasing of your marriage, whether it's toxic, whether it's dysfunctional, whether it's just not coming together. It's like it's something you want to stick and stay and do, because other than that, it's considered a failure. Right? And it's so much shame and guilt connected to that, especially as women, when we've been raised from little girls to be married, take care of the husband and the home and the children, and be mothers. But nowhere in there they fit in the program to take care of ourselves.
Girl, you going there.
We're constantly serving and giving and sharing, and it's like, what about me? Because as I am sharing and pouring from my cup, now I need to be refilled. And it's no one else's responsibility to refill that cup.
No.
Because I gave up my portion. So in giving of my portion, I have to be the one to figure out, how do I refill this? And so when I go to my husband and say, honey, I need you to help refill my cup. And now my husband doesn't have producing seed to refill my cup. I became very disappointed.
Okay.
Because as men, they have the seed. And as women, we take that seed, whatever that is. I'm not just talking about a fertility seed, but I am talking about fertility outside of physical birth. They have that seed, and as women, we nurture that seed. We maintain that seed. We cover that seed as the husband covers us. But when we got to a space that I was nurturing and I was giving and I was sharing and I was taking care of everyone else, including what he was producing. And then when me as his wife came to my helper, the one I should come to first and foremost, God, then him, right? And he didn't have that producing seed for me. It made me really relook and rethink about, where are we in this right now, right?
Yeah.
So when you are married, you are not just connected to your husband, but you're married to everything else that comes with that
Whatever
marriage.
he's connected to.
Whatever he's connected to. So we were connected to the home. We were connected to the business. We were connected to all these things that included my identity. Right?
Your identity.
My identity. Yeah, my identity, our identity is based on this union now. You don't have a single identity anymore. And that was no longer feeding me or maintaining my mental and emotional health.
So you said some bomb-dropping things just now, okay? The first thing that stands out to me is the rebellion that started to spin out of control, because as the helper and as the wife, and you're doing all the things, you're sharing your life, you've melded your identity with this person, right? And you were pouring from an empty cup at some point.
Yes.
When you turned to him and said, I need you to help fill my cup,
Yes.
he was incapable of doing that for you.
Yes.
As a woman, do you think because we are so multi-talented, multifunctional, that it is the thing that causes many women to disconnect when they find that their spouse isn't adequate to support them in the way that they've been supporting? They've been the octopus in their life, right?
Yes.
And designed to be that way. God designed us to be this way, did he not?
Yes.
But then when we turn to our husbands and we say, I need help, and they just have the two arms, does this make women think, I don't have to take this. I don't need this. My guy got two jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to take this. Do you think that that's what's happening?
Well, are you talking about within the culture right now of what's happening between our relationship space as
because
married relationship
Because if you
space?
think about it, there's a lot of women that are strengthening up. And saying, I don't have to take this anymore.
Yes.
I could do better by myself. I'm pulling you along. You don't have the capacity to support me in the way that I'm supporting you. So now I've got double, triple, quadruple work, and there's no reciprocation. So do you think that is the reason why women are saying, I'm ready for divorce, I'm ready to throw in the towel?
Yes, but then I have to say something else to that. I think that's part of the reason. But for one, our roles are different as well. And we have to understand that men, let's be clear, they don't multitask. They don't.
They're not designed to.
They're
God
not
didn't do
designed
that.
to, right. They're not so I never looked for him to have the octopus arms.
What were you looking for? Can we get to that?
I was looking for real, let's come up with a plan on how you can help me so that I can reset and rest.
You said it earlier. You were looking for the seed.
Yes, I was looking for the
Because
seed.
I'm the womb.
Right.
Give me something.
Give me the seed. Okay. Let's sit down as the union, as the couple, as the one. Okay. Let's sit down and discuss how we can work together so that we can create a plan for you to help me, because now your wife needs rest. Your wife needs to reset. That's what I need from you right now. Let's discuss that. So I was never looking for him to have octopus arms. I was looking for us to really find a plan of action. And when there was no plan of action and there wasn't even a conversation, and I keep bringing it up, and I was basically being told like I was nagging, that whole nag piece. And I'm saying, look, I'm breaking down over here. Your wife, I feel like I'm dying over here. I need resuscitation. I need you. This is what I need from you as my husband. I've given, I've shared. You're doing well. You're successful. Our businesses are doing well. It's successful. But there was always a complaint about, honey, you need rest. You need rest, babe. You need to back up some. You need to put some of those things down. Okay, I agree with you. How do we do that? How do you compliment me and compliment us in the union so that your wife can do that? How can you put something in place of what I'm doing now so that I can release that and let that go so that I can rest and restore? Let's, and this is the actual conversation I'm saying. Like, what do you have to compensate? Okay? Because this is what we're paying out right now. So if I stop that, I'm releasing $10,000 of what's coming into this household. Okay? That $10,000 is allocated over here, and over here. So, babe, talk to me. What's the plan? What can we do? What can I help you do to let's compensate for that so that I can relieve that and I can rest and restore? Because, see, at that time I was running 3 businesses. I was running my spa, which had at one point 12 employees. Then I was running my school, which was out of the spa. right? The academy. And then we have a product line that we had a whole room dedicated to produce the product and ship it out. So I'm running 3 businesses. So when I get up each morning and go to my spa, I'm actually running 3 businesses. Right? Then I'm coming home and my husband is expecting me to help him in his business, which is okay. And I was okay with that because I desired to help him build. As the wife, I desired to help him build. And when I didn't feel like there was consideration there, okay, I'm telling you I'm tired. I'm telling you I'm beat. I had to do this, X, Y, and Z. And you still come and say, okay, well, I need X, Y, and Z. And I need you to show up for me like you show up for yours. And it's like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. And it's like, what are we eating? What? Cook something. What are we? I just came back. What are we eating?
That's a good question. What we eating?
What we eating, babe? You know what I'm saying? I'm hungry too.
Right.
And it was just, it became where things were just not considered as far as refilling my cup. And that's exactly what I'm speaking of right there.
Yes.
So yes, to the degree of women are like, I don't have to do this. I'm doing this by myself in the marriage. I can definitely do this by myself outside of the marriage.
And maybe really it's actually, I can't do this anymore, right? It's beyond, I could do better by myself. I'm doing better with you. I'm doing good with you, but I'm spinning all the wheels. I'm the widget. I'm the everything.
I'm spinning all the wheels.
I'm the hub and the spoke.
I'm the spinning all the wheels.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I can't take it anymore because I need to save myself. I say this a lot.
Myself.
Humpty Dumpty, he fell off the wall and he was waiting for somebody to put him back together. And the whole thing goes, nobody's coming to put you back together, sis.
Nobody.
Like if you don't get up off that floor, he's not coming to put you back together because we're so strong sometimes. We're so resilient sometimes that they think that we could just run like the Energizer battery and we'll never run out of energy. But inside, we're running out of energy. Inside, the thoughts start coming. We're finding a way of escape, and it begins up here. So, Tracey, you did let go of your marriage. You released it all, right? Yeah. And we're talking about divorce and the expectations versus the reality, right? Yes. And so we think it's going to be the answer to it all, but then we encounter other difficulties, don't we? Yeah. So I don't want.
We about to get into
because what we were talking about now. A lot of women are probably like, yeah, I might need to get my divorce paid. I'm with you, sis, but hold on, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Because then there's the reality of the emotional toll, the financial toll, the family toll. There's a lot that goes into divorce that oftentimes we don't consider before we make that choice. No, we don't. So talk to us a little bit about the emotional impact and some of the reality that you experienced after making that decision.
Well, first off, I want to say much of it is emotionally charged. Much of it is emotionally charged. So you have to really sort through your emotions to find out if you are acting from a place of just simply emotion and not logic. That's the most important thing, before you decide to say, okay, this is what I choose. I choose to leave the marriage. So I did factor in marriage counseling before I made that decision. I exhausted every effort to make it work because I did not want to move in haste, emotional haste. Okay. And so when we got to marriage counseling, and the marriage counselor suggested that he do some things in order to secure our marriage. And those things weren't met. They weren't even looked at. And it was even suggested, I don't even want to do this marriage counseling piece anymore. There was nothing else left for me to do but to exit, because now we're not even working on anything. We're not working together. So I would definitely suggest always exhaust every option before you decide, because it is not what we think. We think, okay, we're about to leave this and we're just going to go move on and I'm just going to bounce forward and I'm just going to blow up. No. I do not suggest anyone do what I did. First off, I don't suggest you do that without like being logical, speaking to, therapists, marriage counselors and things like that first. Like really do that, because we just don't want to move in emotional haste. But the reality is now your identity has shifted. So there's a big identity shift that takes place where you don't know who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, because your identity was just attached to your union, to your husband, to your marriage, to your family.
The two became one.
The two became one to your family. You're not just moving on and releasing your marriage. You're releasing your in-laws. You're releasing the community,
nieces, your nephews, your family.
All those years of what you knew, you're releasing all of that.
Oh, you know what, Tracey, real quick, just something Hassan and I talk about is the memories. That is the key. The memories, the moments that we shared together that we could laugh about, that nobody even knows what we're talking about. You are literally breaking yourself into two pieces. And now you have to heal from there, because everything in the past is lost.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes. And I wouldn't even say as much lost as no longer being lived in. Okay, because those memories, sometimes you can go back to those after you've done some healing.
Sure.
You can go back to those memories and find strength.
Sure.
But in that moment of releasing your marriage, those memories, you can't go on those. No. You are becoming this new person. My prayer life definitely increased. Okay, first it was margaritas, then it was prayer.
We do not endorse this message.
Well, I had to self-medicate. I did in the beginning. I'm gonna just keep it 100.
Oh, absolutely.
I had to do some self-medicating because I was truly hurting. It was like, who am I now?
Who am I?
What do I do? I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't have the answers. I didn't have direction. I didn't have a blueprint. I had a mind of what to do as far as leaving. But once I left, I don't care how much you plan, and based on your age, this is something I could do in 25. I was 56. Woo. So my energy level had shifted, honey. And then I was going through perimenopause. So I had all these factors going on with me when I decided to leave, and I was really in a very, very dark place. I had no blueprint. All I could do is think about some of the women, the strong women that had left their marriage and became better for it. That became stronger, that became wiser. I had that to look forward to. And like I said, once I released the margaritas and went strongly into my prayer life, that's the only thing that really saved me.
You said that you released in 2022. How long were you considering this? Because I think a lot of times we don't consider the cost, or we just quick make a decision and we do it. Now we have to deal with the ramifications of it. So how did you know that, okay, this is long enough, it's time? That's number one, right? And in hindsight of that, do you think sometimes women pull the trigger too soon just to escape their pain?
Yes, I do. I do think that many times we can pull the trigger too soon. It is salvageable. It is workable. And, I think out of frustration, many times we'll just go ahead and cut the ties and not give it a chance, because I find that what's happening is more and more people are not coming into marriage a lot of times to stick and stay. They always have like an escape hatch somewhere. It's like, well, if he don't do right or she don't do right, I'm gone. I already know what I'm going to do. Like, I gave it all. I didn't have an escape hatch. I didn't have an escape plan. I didn't have any of that. When I came in as a wife to that man who I still love, and that was the hardest thing to do, to leave someone I was in love with. Like, usually when you leave and you're not in, the love is gone. It's okay, it died out, the passion's gone, all this kind of thing. No, I was still very much deeply in love with my husband, and I was playing tug of war with myself and him. Do I stay because of the love, or do I rebel and do a self-love currency piece, you know? And
that's what you mean by rebel. So your rebelliousness was, I am the suitable helper here.
Yes.
But I'm rebelling to save myself and take care of myself.
Yes.
That's the rebellion you're talking about?
I feel like if I would have stayed, I would have died.
Wow.
I really felt like if I would have stayed, I would lay in that bed and felt like, if you don't get out of this, you're going to die. You're going to die.
Something? And here you are racing ahead of your beautiful lifestyle, your $1 million business, your beautiful home, and everything probably looks so amazing to everybody looking in, but you are dying and you couldn't find any other escape. You said you went to the marriage counseling. Okay.
Yes.
Nothing was changing.
No.
Bills and pressure still heavy on you, about to take you out.
Yes.
Was he not in agreement of letting go of some of this stuff as you've done? You know, when you let go of everything, you said, I got peace now. Was he not in agreement to let go of some of those things?
When I first let go, I didn't have peace.
Okay. Talk about it.
When I first let go, I had dysfunction because, like I said, I didn't know how to navigate now. You know, I had been in this relationship almost 10 years and we was married for like close to 7. Okay. The year before we had just did a big old love reunion piece with all the family and friends. And something about that moment, it was something about that love reunion that we did with family and friends, that ceremony. After that, it was like, it was a big shift in our relationship. I don't know if there was a comfort level that came from him or, I don't know, but there was definitely a big shift and I felt it like immediately. And, yeah. So
I like the fact that you're so, knowledgeable about this because you've lived it and you support other women who have gone through it. A question that's coming to mind, because you don't sound like a divorce advocate. You sound like a self-advocate, right?
Yes.
And being able to recognize when I'm about to die, something's got to change. Do you ever worry that you could be advocating divorce to successful, strong women? Because here's the thing that we know, Tracey, is that women are out here crushing it, kicking butt, and killing it.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, especially in our community, the husbands aren't at that same level. And so there is a lot of pulling them along. There is a lot of them taking care of all the things. Do you think that your message could advocate for divorce?
Well, let me first say, no, I'm not an advocate for divorce. I am an advocate for a healthy marriage. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
But I'm also a very strong advocate for healthy self-care and self-love and getting your needs met, men and women alike.
Yes.
Okay. And when I asked my husband to help save me because I'm dying over here, and I wasn't thrown a life raft, I knew immediately I was responsible. When I prayed out and hollered out to God, I knew I was responsible for saving myself. And that's all it was to it. Because I left in love, but I had to save myself. I had to get my own water. I had to. There was no other way. Everything was going to be destroyed anyway. Everything was going to end up destroyed. So in saving myself, I know it looked like, I looked crazy, first off. I didn't have a whole lot of people to talk to about it, because nobody understood. And then I found myself in a space of such pain that a lot of times I was talking to the wrong people. I want to share that.
Do that.
I want to share that. I was talking to women who actually envied my marriage. Yes.
So they're like, you crazy because you just walked away from all of this.
But a lot of them wouldn't say it. See, that's the thing. This is what they were thinking. And I'm in my pain and I'm sharing my pain, because I'm sitting with my sister, you know, I'm sitting with my sister. Girl, we, hey, help me walk through this, you know, help, just be talk therapy, you know what I'm saying? Let me share some things with you. And the whole time as I sit back now and I have more discernment, right? I see that I was speaking to some women that were actually envious of what I had. They wanted the marriage. They wanted the home. They wanted the business. They wanted the traveling. They wanted what all of that represented. They wanted that. And here I am leaving it. So there was not going to be an intimate common thread there for my healing. So I had to really check myself with that part as well, because a lot of times we can be in so much pain that we're sharing with the wrong ear. Sharing people with the don't have the best intentions for you.
Yeah,
you know?
and when you learn that, you're quick to isolate, right? You have to get by yourself, and
that's
actually,
what I did.
sometimes it's the most healing place you could be is alone, even though it's terrifying and scary in the midst of it.
Oh, it was dark.
But then you find yourself. That's when you find
That's
yourself.
where I found myself, in the darkness, and all I kept telling myself is, although you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fear no evil.
Right.
I just had to keep repeating that and repeating that and repeating that over and over and over. And, you know, I had to sit with God and ask, well, you know, is this what you consider a sin? Like, because we have so much guilt connected to leaving the husband.
And